You've been a corrections officer at Westfield Correctional for 6 years. Nobody dreams about this job as a kid. But it's steady. $42,000 a year. Health benefits. A pension if you can survive 30 years without getting stabbed or losing your mind. You work DB block. Maximum security. The kind of place where silence feels like pressure and eye contact is a challenge. You're good at your job. You follow protocol. You don't take bribes. You don't look the other way. You've seen what happens to guards who cross lines. It starts small. A cigarette. A phone number passed through a food slot. Then one day they're smuggling pills or cash and internal affairs walks them out in handcuffs. You have a wife. 2 kids. A mortgage. A car that sounds like it's negotiating its own death every morning. You live paycheck to paycheck in the specific way that means one unexpected bill could collapse everything. Then your wife gets diagnosed. Stage 3 breast cancer. Aggressive. The oncologist uses words like chemotherapy and radiation and mastectomy like he's reading a grocery list. Your insurance covers some of it. Not all of it. Never all of it. $14,000 minimum. You have $1,400. The math doesn't work. Cancer doesn't wait. That's when Marcus Vow starts talking to you. Marcus is 47. 25 to life. Drug trafficking and racketeering. He's quiet. Polite. Reads philosophy. Other inmates leave him alone because he still has connections outside. The kind that reach through walls. One Tuesday during rounds, he calls you over with a slight nod. He asks how your wife is doing. You freeze. You haven't told anyone at work. He knows her name. Your daughter's name. The fact that she plays travel soccer. He isn't threatening you. Not exactly. He's just letting you know the walls don't stop information. Then he makes the offer. 1 package. Just documents. $5,000. Delivered to a PO box under a name that isn't yours. You tell him no. You walk away. That night you sit at the kitchen table staring at medical bills while your wife sleeps on the couch with a heating pad pressed against her ribs. $5,000 pays for the first rounds of chemo. $5,000 buys time. You tell yourself you're just thinking about it. You spend 4 days thinking. On Friday, you walk past Marcus's cell and nod once. He sees it. The next morning there's a note folded in a napkin on your station. Address. Date. Time. The pickup happens Sunday. Storage unit. Lock already open. Inside is a thick manila envelope. You don't open it. You tell yourself if you don't know what's inside, you're not really part of it. Monday morning, you tape the envelope to your lower back under your uniform shirt. Your heart pounds walking through the metal detector. But you've worked here 6 years. They trust you. You hand the envelope through Marcus's food slot during a camera blind rotation. 20 seconds. 2 days later, there's $5,000 in the PO box. You count it 3 times. You just crossed a line you told yourself you never would. And the worst part? It worked. The first time you do it, you can't breathe. The second time, you can't sleep. By the third, you can do it while thinking about grocery lists. That's how it happens. Not with a dramatic fall. With repetition. With the brain learning that the world doesn't end when you cross a line, so it quietly redraws the line somewhere else. Marcus doesn't approach you like a predator. He approaches you like a man who already owns the room. 3 weeks after the first envelope, he calls you over again. Same polite gesture. Same calm tone. Another package. $10,000 this time. And the way he says it is different. Less like an offer. More like a schedule. You try to speak. Try to tell him you did your part. That you said 1 package. That you're done. He doesn't raise his voice. He just tilts his head slightly and says, "You're a good man. Good men do what they have to. You understand that." Then he says your daughter's name. Not as a threat. Not even like he's trying to intimidate you. Like he's reminding you that he already knows where your life lies. You walk away with your stomach tight and your hands steady, which scares you more than shaking would. Because shaking means you still feel it. Steady means your body is adapting. That night your wife comes home from the hospital with a bag of prescriptions and a smile that looks practiced. She's trying to be brave for the kids. You catch her in the bathroom staring at her own reflection like she's memorizing it before it changes. You do the math again. 10,000 covers the next 4 rounds. 10,000 means you don't have to sell the car or skip the mortgage or tell your daughter she can't play soccer because the fees are too high. You tell yourself this is the last one. Just enough to get through treatment. Then you're done. Sunday afternoon, You drive to another storage facility. Different unit. Different code. Same routine. Lock is open. Inside is a package that's heavier than the first. You don't open it. You don't want to know. You tell yourself it's documents. Legal papers. Financial records. Something that won't hurt anyone. Monday morning, you walk through the staff entrance with a weight taped under your shirt. The metal detector operator waves you through without a glance because your badge has 6 years of trust attached to it. You deliver it to Marcus in the same camera rotation blind spot. 20 seconds. He takes it through the food slot without a word. No thank you. No acknowledgement. Just a nod that says, good. 2 days later, $10,000 appears in your PO box. You deposit it in pieces, across 3 ATMs, over a week. You tell your wife you've been taking overtime. She doesn't question it. She's too tired to question anything. The chemo starts hitting hard. Hair falls out in the shower. Your daughter cries into a towel so she doesn't make noise. Your son gets quiet in a way that doesn't feel like peace. You sit on the edge of the bed at night listening to your wife breathe like you're counting the seconds you still have her. You pay in cash. The hospital doesn't care where money comes from as long as it comes. Then Marcus approaches you again. A month later. 15,000. Then another. 20. Then 25. Each time you tell yourself you're going to stop, and each time you don't, because now the money isn't just temptation. It's oxygen. And Marcus knows it. You start paying off debt. Fixing the car. Buying your daughter new cleats. Getting your son braces. Your life becomes normal again on the surface, which is the most dangerous part, because normal is how you survive long enough to forget you're drowning. And in the prison, things start changing. Small at first. Fights that used to happen daily suddenly stop. Not because everyone is calm, because someone is coordinating. Inmates who used to hate each other start moving like they're on the same team. A guard you've known for years starts wearing a new watch he can't afford. Contraband moves through DV block with a smoothness that doesn't happen by accident. You tell yourself it's not you. You're just carrying packages. But you start noticing that Marcus doesn't just receive envelopes. He receives control. And the only road into his cell is you. The alarms start at 9:17 a.m., not the routine buzzes. Not a minor disturbance. Full facility lockdown. You're halfway through morning rounds when the sirens hit. Doors slam shut automatically. Radios erupt with overlapping voices. Secure your units. All staff report. Code red, transport breach. Transport breach. That doesn't happen here. You lock down DV block by muscle memory. Inmates to the walls. Hands visible. Eyes forward. Marcus stands inside his cell like he's watching a weather report. Calm. Too calm. 2 hours later you get the details. 6 inmates escaped during a transfer. They hit the transport van on a stretch of highway between facilities. Perfect timing. Perfect location. The exact bend in the road where surveillance coverage drops for 43 seconds. 2 guards injured. 1 dead. Thomas Riley. You trained with him. Coffee every morning for 4 years. Same thermos. Same dumb jokes about retirement plans neither of you believed you'd reach. He has a wife. A 3-year-old son. You feel the air leave your lungs like someone punched you in the chest. The warden calls an emergency assembly. She's furious. Says the escape was coordinated with military precision. Says the inmates knew the route, the timing, the shift rotation. Says someone inside provided information. Inside. Your mind starts doing math you don't want it to do. You recognize 2 names on the escape list. DV block. Marcus's orbit. You think about the packages. You think about the weight of them. You think about the second envelope feeling thicker than the first. Blueprints. Schedules. Rotation charts. You never opened them. But you didn't have to. Internal Affairs starts interviews the same afternoon. They ask if you noticed anything unusual. Any inmate behavior shifts. Any signs of planning. You say no. Your voice doesn't crack. You've gotten good at this. You go home that night and sit in your driveway for 10 minutes before going inside. Your wife is on the couch with a blanket around her shoulders. Pale. Alive. Alive because you smuggled those packages. Your daughter is at the table doing homework in the new cleats you bought her. Your son is smiling through a mouthful of fresh braces. Thomas Riley's son will never see his father again. And you helped build the chain of events that made that possible. 3 days later, the FBI shows up. Not Internal Affairs. Not state investigators. Federal agents. Because the escape wasn't random. Marcus wasn't just running a prison clique. He was coordinating with trafficking networks across multiple states. The packages you carried weren't just escape logistics. They were communication pipelines. Operational directives. You weren't smuggling paper. You were smuggling infrastructure. The FBI doesn't arrest you immediately. They do something worse. They sit you down in a quiet room and show you what they have. Security footage of you at Marcus's cell during blind camera rotations. PO box surveillance. ATM deposits matching delivery dates. Transcripts of intercepted outside communications referencing the guard. Then they show you Thomas Riley's funeral. His widow. His son standing next to a flag-draped coffin, not understanding what that flag means. They explain the charges. Conspiracy. Aiding organized crime. Facilitating an escape that resulted in death. 15 to 25 years. Your pension gone. Your badge gone. Your kids visiting you through glass. Then they make the offer. Cooperate. Wear a wire. Help them dismantle Marcus's operation from the inside. In exchange, reduced charges. Probation. No prison time. You get to go home. Your wife gets to stay in remission. Your kids keep their father. You ask how long you have to decide. The agent across the table doesn't blink. You decided the first time you carried a package. You sit there in silence, realizing something brutal. Marcus paid you to save your family. The FBI is asking you to betray him to save yourself. You're not choosing between right and wrong anymore. You're choosing between which master you're going to disappoint. And either way, someone ends up buried. You take the deal. Not because you believe it redeems you. Because it keeps your family intact. The first day you wear the wire, you feel it against your chest like a second heartbeat. Small. Light. Invisible. But you're aware of it every second. You walk into DB block like you've done for 6 years. Same routine. Same keys. Same tone of voice. Marcus watches you the way he always has. Calm. Patient. He doesn't suspect anything. Or if he does, he doesn't show it. You hand him another package. The FBI intercepted it 2 days ago. Scanned it. Replaced the contents with monitored copies. You pass it through the food slot during the same 20-second blind rotation. Your hand doesn't shake. You've been lying long enough that your body thinks this is normal. For the next 6 months, you live 2 lives layered on top of each other. In the prison, you're the compromised guard just trying to survive. At night, you sit in unmarked SUVs parked behind grocery stores while federal agents download recordings from the device taped to your ribs. You document everything. Conversations. Names. Drop locations. Marcus talks more than he should. He trusts you because he thinks desperation makes you loyal. He underestimates how fast desperation shifts when survival is on the table. The FBI builds their case brick by brick. They arrest external contacts in 4 states. They freeze accounts. They flip 2 inmates in protective custody. Then one morning, they move. 17 inmates. 6 guards. Marcus included. The prison explodes into chaos for 48 hours. Media vans line the road outside the gates. The warden holds a press conference about dismantling a multi-state organized crime network operating from inside a maximum security facility. Your name is not mentioned. Confidential informant. Protected identity. You stand in formation behind the warden while cameras flash, and no one knows you're the reason the case exists. Marcus passes you once in the corridor before transfer. Handcuffed. Flanked by US Marshals. He stops for half a second. Makes eye contact. No anger. No surprise. Just understanding. You took his money to save your wife. Then you took the FBI's deal to save yourself. You served 2 masters. You betrayed them both. Thomas Riley's widow never learns your part in the escape. The FBI keeps the detail buried. Officially, the breach was the result of internal corruption. System failure. She believes that. You let her. Your wife finishes treatment. Remission. Your daughter makes varsity. Your son gets his braces off. Life stabilizes. On the outside, it worked. You saved them. But you keep working at Westfield for 2 more years. You can't bring yourself to quit. Quitting feels like running. So you walk the same corridors. Past the same cells. Stand at Riley's old post during shift rotation sometimes and remember the way he used to laugh at his own bad jokes. The other guards respect you for staying. They think you survived something terrible. They don't know you helped build it. 5 years later, you're still here. Your wife is healthy. Your daughter plays college soccer. Your son is in high school. They don't know what you did. They never will. Marcus is in federal prison for life. The FBI agent who handled you retired. Everyone moved on. Except you. You're still carrying the math of that first $5,000. Still replaying the nod you gave Marcus on a Friday afternoon. You weren't evil. You were desperate. But desperation doesn't erase consequences. It just changes who pays them. That's a wrap. The story is fiction, but somewhere right now, a prison guard is staring at medical bills while an inmate with connections makes a polite offer. And in that moment, the line between survival and corruption is thinner than anyone wants to admit. If this made you think, drop a comment. Subscribe for more.